has supported. Yeah, I mean he's an interesting guy, man, because he's so friendly.
Right.
You know, like even like when people are trash talking, he's like smiling, and then he gets in that ring,
Kick your ass later.
Dude, seeing him beat Keith Thurman at 40 years old, like, God, this guy's great. I mean, just look at his career with 8 different weight classes, world titles in 8 different weight classes. 40 years old, beats Keith Thurman, who was in his prime.
Right.
Crazy. I mean, what a man.
I mean, Manny went up 8 weight classes.
And kept his knockout
He was
power.
fighting as a little boy and then just was like,
Crazy.
Nobody saw it coming. Not now, not like this. Boxing fans woke up to headlines that sounded like fiction. Manny Pacquiao, at 46 years old, was stepping back into the ring. Not for an exhibition, not for charity, but for a real sanctioned world. Title fight against Mario Barrios, the young, sharp, and active WBC welterweight champion. Then came Joe Rogan, the voice of combat sports, blending skepticism with awe. His take wasn't polite or sugar-coated, but it wasn't dismissive.
Manny Pacquiao, in the middle of his prime, said, "I'm going to fight MMA." That would be insane, and you'd probably get his face kicked off, probably get strangled, probably get taken down, strangled, and he would be helpless. It's a different skill set. There's so much more.
Most legends fade into silence. Pacquiao returned like a thunderclap. For some, it's insanity. For others, destiny. Fans aren't just watching for a fight. They're witnessing a resurrection or a reckoning. Will the legend rise again or be crushed by the future? This isn't just another bout. It's a question whispered across gyms, podcasts, and press rooms. Can Manny Pacquiao still win? Or will this be the night the dream finally dies? The truth is, Manny Pacquiao's legacy doesn't need
Still
this
love the
fight.
sport, but listen, you are an all-time great and legend of the sport, a Hall of Famer. Why return? Why not just go pursue other things? If anything, do the little cheap expedition fights that you did last year, or those that are similar to that of what Floyd Mayweather keeps doing.
8 division titles, 70 career bouts, a seat in the Hall of Fame already locked. And yet, just weeks before his official induction into boxing immortality, Manny Pacquiao is lacing up the gloves again. Some say it's ego. Others whisper, desperation. But those who know Pacquiao say it's unfinished business. This isn't a farewell tour. It's a final war. At 46, he's not just fighting Mario Barrios. He's fighting time, gravity, and every critic who said he should have stayed in the past. And across the ring stands a man who doesn't fear legends. Mario Barrios, 28, fresh off a dominant win streak, and newly crowned WBC welterweight champion after Terence Crawford vacated. He didn't ask for this matchup, but when the name Pacquiao came up, he didn't hesitate. For Barrios, this isn't just a title defense. It's a shortcut to the history books. Beat Pacquiao, and you don't just keep the belt. May 19th isn't just a fight. It's a moment frozen in time. Boxing fans aren't just filling seats, they're crossing oceans. Filipino flags flood the Las Vegas Strip. Old posters from the De La Hoya and Hatton days are being dusted off. Mothers are bringing sons to witness something they once watched with their fathers. It's not a fight. It's a pilgrimage. And Pacquiao? He's not just returning. He's bringing his bloodline with him. Manny Pacquiao Jr., only 23, will make his professional debut on the same card as his father's final battle. It's more than symbolic. It's generational. One legend stepping out as another steps in. Pacquiao Jr., guided by Freddie Roach and Marvin Somodio, enters the pro ranks with a modest amateur record. But no one's watching for stats. They're watching to see if the fire passed down from father to son still burns just as hot. Some say it's too soon. Others believe he was born for this. And while the Pacquiaos dominate the headlines, the undercard brings heat of its own. Sebastian Fundora versus Tim Tszyu promises chaos, a rematch laced with unfinished business. Their last bout left both men bloodied and fans divided. And now, with the cameras rolling again, they return to settle a score that still echoes through highlight reels. Then there's Isaac Pitbull Cruz, the relentless Mexican mauler rumored to face Angel Fierro. Cruz doesn't dance. He charges. In a sport starving for raw aggression, He's become the crowd's personal adrenaline.
A Félix el de rojo y otra vez el gancho. Tiene que estar llaveando y también aprovechando. Que vámonos a la lona con la derecha a la zona de las costillas. La izquierda.
From top to bottom, July 19th is built like a farewell concert, with an opening act from the future. A father, a son, a last shot at glory. It's boxing's most emotional card in years, and every name on it is fighting for more than just a win. They're fighting for a place in the echo of something unforgettable. You don't become Manny Pacquiao without breaking the rules of biology. Most fighters in their mid-40s limp through training. Pacquiao explodes off the line, shadow boxes with a tempo that rivals fighters half his age, and still hits pads like a hummingbird with C4 in its fists. But there's a secret weapon Joe Rogan has pointed out for years. General
Him is
Sanders.
his calves.
Yeah.
Calves.
Yeah.
When you look at that, they're giants. They're like a thigh.
And I know the reason why, because in General Santos, the mountains that he runs and that steep hill, that's why they're so big. Because he's always constantly running mountains. And I was doing the mountain runs with him.
Yeah.
Even now, in his 40s, Pacquiao's footwork tells a different story from his age. His recent training footage went viral, not because he looked young, but because he looked dangerous. The bounce was still there, the speed, the burst off the line. But let's not lie to ourselves. Sparring myths aren't fight night punches. And behind every explosive combo is a question fans don't want to ask. Can those calves still carry the weight of war? Mario Barrios isn't flashy. He doesn't talk trash, and he doesn't need to. His style is precise, controlled, and lethal in a way that creeps up on you. You blink, and you're behind on points. You swing, and he pivots out, makes you miss, makes you think. He's not a knockout artist. He's a technician with power. And lately, that combination has been working. At 28 years old, Barrios is in that sweet spot. Not too green, not too weathered. Sharp enough to take risks, calm, enough to know when not to. Against Ugas, Pacquiao looked hesitant, rusty, a step slow. Barrios doesn't bring hesitation. He brings volume, pressure, and youth. The kind of youth that doesn't second-guess itself in round 10. And while the cameras stay fixed on Pacquiao, Barrios has been quietly preparing for the biggest moment of his life, and he's treating it like
Atlanta, fighting tank there. Everything, that played into that fight. It did bring a lot of attention, and I think it was the perfect, fight fit, for that fight.
He doesn't want to win. He wants to earn it by beating the legend clean, with no controversy or split decision. If Barrios walks out victorious, he's not just the guy who beat Manny. He's the one who ended the myth. By the time the gloves are laced, most fights are already half won in the mind, and this one is mental warfare disguised as mutual respect. Manny Pacquiao has always been a quiet storm, with no stare-downs, trash talk, or Instagram threats. Just prayer, tape, raps, and sweat. At the final press conference, Barrios appeared composed, but the pressure leaked out in flickers. Clipped answers, dry chuckles, slight hesitations. He's not just fighting Pacquiao. He's carrying the weight of what beating him would mean. Pacquiao, on the other hand, walks through it all with disarming peace, not blinking or posturing because he's been here more times than Barrios has fought professionally. He reads scripture in the locker room, smiles at media day, and pats his opponents with genuine warmth before trying to take their heads off. That paradox unnerves people. He's a man of God, and also a man who made a living breaking jaws with blistering combinations. That inner stillness isn't weakness, it's danger wrapped in grace.
In boxing, not only because of our own ability, but because of your promotion of this boxing event. Thank you so much, media and press.
In the lead up to this fight, Barrios has said all the right things, but so did Keith Thurman and Miguel Cotto. What separates Pacquiao isn't just his punches, it's how he turns silence into a strategy, a calm so loud it drowns out everything. else. Joe Rogan, who has followed Manny Pacquiao's career longer than most broadcasters, has watched from the front row as Pacquiao steamrolled legends, jumped weight classes, and rewrote the laws of boxing physics. Now, with this comeback, Rogan finds himself in a strange position, torn between admiration and realism. He's said it before, Pacquiao is an anomaly, a miracle in gloves, but he's also a 46-year-old man fighting in a young man's division. That's not just risky, it's historic.
Manny Pacquiao, in the middle of his prime, said, "I'm going to fight MMA." That would be insane, and you'd probably get his face kicked off.
Rogan doesn't doubt the legend's will. What he questions, like many others, is the cost. While the headlines focus on Pacquiao's speed and footwork, Rogan sees something else. Mileage, scar tissue, that quiet erosion that no slow-motion, highlight reel ever shows. Still, he admits one thing with absolute certainty. Pacquiao brings fire. Even when logic says no, the crowd says
WBC, as you said, it's a shoo-in, it's a big money maker, it's utterly and totally wrong. I have nothing more to lose.
Of course he is.
Yeah,
That's something
crazy.
you can't take on.
Kind of amazing, that he still guarantees that many eyeballs.
That's Rogan's dilemma. As a fight analyst, he sees the danger. As a fan, he can't help but hope for one last miracle. What happens if Manny wins? Let's be honest. No one really wants to talk about it. Because if Manny Pacquiao wins, the sport won't know what to do with itself. A 46-year-old beating a prime champion for a world title. That's not just a headline, that's a detonation. The WBC would face a storm of questions. Does he unify? Does he retire? Or does he defend against someone younger, faster, hungrier again? And what about the rankings, the belts, the fighters who've waited years for a shot, only to be leapfrogged by a living ghost?
Yeah, I haven't let him choose anyone yet. But the thing is, it's hard. But it hasn't.